This is a factoring video, and what you see here is your typical quadratic function or quadratic expression, and I've just highlighted in orange, yellow, and pink. A is the coefficient of the x squared, b is the coefficient of the x, and c is the constant. When we're going to factor it, we're going to factor it into this kind of a shape, and you're going to have a plus or minus in the middle. You're going to have an x, and you're going to have a factor of the a coefficient there, and you're going to have a factor of the c constant here. And in all cases when we factor, it's going to look like that. The key is what numbers we put in there and what do we put for pluses or minuses. Let's roll through an example and I'll show you how this works. Let's take 15x squared minus 14x minus 8. And it's a whole lot easier to do factoring if this doesn't exist, if this is just a 1 and we just see x squared. If it looked like that, it would be a lot easier. But because that's there, we've got to do multiple calculations in our head. But here's how we do it. We recognize that 15 is our orange, and 8, or negative 8 I should say, is our pink. And let's just highlight the negative 14 here as our yellow. And the key here is that we have to look at the factors of 15 and the factors of negative 8 and see which ones will combine to result in negative 14. So what are the factors of 15? There is 15 and 1. That's a factor pair. And there is 5 and 3. And I'm just going to put those in my own little orange table here to recognize that they have to be used as a group. What are the factors of negative 8? Well, the factors are, there's negative 1 and 8, there's negative 2 and 4, and there is 1 and negative 8, and there is 2 and negative 4. And those are the only choices I have as factors of negative 8. And I put them all in factor pairs because they have to be taken as a package. So now, what we need to do is we need to assemble one of these orange packages with one of these pink packages such that we multiply one by one and one by the other, and we end up with negative 14. So we can try this. Let's try the first one and the first one. We could try 15 times negative 1 and 1 times 8. I'm just taking 15 times negative 1 and 1 times 8. Well, that equals negative 15, this equals 8, and then when I add them together I get negative 7. So that's in the right ballpark, but it's not negative 14. So let's try the next one, 15 and negative 2, 15 times negative 2, and then 1 times 4. Well, that equals negative 30, and this equals 4, and so we end up with 26, negative 26. That's not what we're after either. So I'm just going to do some of this in my head and see if I can figure something out that makes sense. 5 times negative 2, that's negative 10, 3 and 12, that's plus 2, that's not going to work. 15 times 8, no, that's no good. 3 times 8 is 24, 24 and negative 5, so that's 19, that's close. Let's see. 3 times 2 is 6. Now there we go. We've got this right here. Okay, so we've got 3 times 2 equals 6, and we've got 5 times negative 4 equals negative 20, and the two of them combine to negative 14. So these are the correct factor pairs to use, and that means we just set up our little formula, or our little template like this, and we're going to have 5x on one side and 3x on the other. Those are my orange ones, and we're going to have negative 4 on one side and 2 on the other. The question is, where is the negative 4, where is the 2? Well, when we're going to FOIL this together, remember you do the firsts and then the outsides and then the insides and then the lasts. And so if we would like the 5 to be multiplied by the negative 4, we're going to have to put negative 4 over here. And then we put the plus 2 over here. And if we wanted to check that, we would just see how this works out. Inside, outside, last. So 5 times negative 4 is in fact negative 20x, or sorry, 5x times 3x is 15x squared. 5x times negative 4 is minus 20x plus 6x minus 8. So that's correct.